more surviving, time to be thriving. Let's keep it simple, I'm done with trying. It's all aligning, oh, I can see it now. No more distractions, I'm done reacting. Cause life is short and that's all that happens if you don't show up and claim your power.
What is up, Copper family? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. We're an hour earlier than normal, but that's because I'm doing a lot with I Love You Bro tonight, and we're going to go see Utah Hockey play the Avalanche with I guess it's not the Utah Hockey Club, it's the Mammoth now, and so we're doing that as a little Ogden group for our I Love You Bro. So it's very important to me that I'm there for them, and it's such a cool experience. But with that being said, guys, I'm so excited for you guys to get to meet Justin today. Justin is one of the premier guys. I got to meet him through Felicia, who was on last week, and Justin has gone through the ringer, and he has come out stronger and better for it, and he's going to educate us. And I'm looking really forward to getting to know him. And I'll do a little bit of bio, but first, just remember how this kind of works. At the beginning of the live, my focus is going to be on him and making sure that he can share his experiences and knowledge. So I'm probably not going to be able to greet everyone individually. Just know that I love you guys and I appreciate you being here. And if you have a question, we can ask a question in the middle of this. This is not going to be like a Brock situation. You can ask a question in the middle of it, and I will definitely ask him for that. So anyway, if you guys have, let me see, I have these rules, not rules, but like guidelines that I created. So this space, guys, exists so that we can learn, feel, and apply something real to our lives. Our goal is growth, not perfection. So remember that if you're struggling like, oh, I wish I could do that, you can. You 100% can do this, and that's why we're doing this, so that we can learn a little bit and grow individually and as a community. And so this space solely exists so that we meaning you and me, can learn, feel, and apply the things into our lives, because the goal is growth, not perfection. All right, so love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And now this is let me tell you a little bit about who Justin is. He built a smile behind battles most people never saw. He grew up behind a white picket fence, but far from a perfect home. His parents did the best they could, yet chaos was always close. As a juvenile and young adult, he was arrested, struggled with drugs and alcohol, and faced some of the darkest versions of himself. He's blessed to say he never went to prison, but he easily could have. So instead, he redirected all of that energy to boxing, MMA, physical competitions, and Spartan races. That became his outlet. So discipline became his therapy. Somewhere in that process, he rebuilt his identity. So today he hosts a podcast, which I was lucky enough, and Logan was lucky enough to be a part of. He is a model, he's an actor, and he's a performance coach, but titles do not define him. Discipline does. So growth does, accountability does. He specializes in biomechanics and human movement. So I'm going to talk to him. Actually, it wasn't part of the questions I arranged, but I need to talk to him about my knees. But anyway, he says most people are depleted, minerals, sleep broken, movement dysfunctional. His approach restores balance first, rebuild the tissue, stabilize the structure, correct the pattern. Then he builds strength, performance, and solid foundation. His goal isn't just aesthetics in the gym, but it's resilience, fluid, powerful movement, that the way that we were designed for. So you guys are freaking awesome. I'm excited to have him here. Well, let's go. What's up, Justin?
How's it going?
So I forgot to tell everyone, his internet is out, so he's using his phone. So if there's any glitches, it just is what it is, unfortunately.
Is it already glitching?
No, I said when it does. It
Okay, I was just making sure. I was like, just look like a robot, and I'm just like, not really. I'm like, click, clack, click, clack.
But
Yeah,
why
so
don't you tell a little bit about yourself more so on a personal level than what I just read?
yeah, so basically I come up from like a lower middle class background. My dad was actually homeless growing up, and my mom basically was for a little while too. They got together, they started figuring their life out, and so I grew up with an interesting family. Although they were great people, EQ wasn't a very strong standpoint in the upbringing I had. So there was a lot of not like physical violence all the time, but a lot of yelling, and so that helped me develop certain tendencies and patterns myself. A lot of the time, I was in survival mode. I grew up around drugs and alcohol and fighting. I got into boxing at an early age. I was 5 when I started boxing over summers at my uncle's gym, nonprofit gym, fully Latino gym too. I was one of the only white kids in there. He's Hispanic. He was married to my aunt, which is my mom's sister. And then so I started fighting at an early age, mostly trained fighting, and then it went into schools. In Lompoc, California is where I grew up. I moved to Utah when I was 22. So through that process at elementary school, I used to get beat up for my skin color, have to defend myself for stuff like that. Probably not every day, but weekly at least. So like my whole process, the way my brain was structured was for survival. Like, so I was surviving. And then when it comes to my family members, even my nephews and my cousins, so I was an uncle by the time I was born. My oldest brother's like 30 years older than me. And
Oh
my
wow.
mom's 70. Yeah, my mom's 77. So she had me at 41. I'll be 37 on Tuesday. And yeah, so for me, it was always like fight, yell. I didn't understand EQ. It wasn't something that was in my wheelhouse. I was always kind of a troublemaker because I seen it got me attention, and I had a problem with authority because I didn't understand what like some morals should be, if that makes sense. And then so over time, I was blessed, and I got myself out of situations. Or I let my I thought I used to be like a weenie or a pussy or whatever you want to call that, and so like, but it was actually my intuition guiding me away from situations. So there was a time between 17 and 22, I say 21, that I was embarrassed that I didn't have a felony and I didn't go to prison. I thought it was a rite of passage into manhood from what I seen growing up where I was.
So, let me just really state this is an E for everyone, just so the kids can watch and stuff. So,
Oh,
I'm just
sorry.
letting you know now. No, no, no,
Okay.
you're fine. What you said was fine. I'm just letting you know. Just that's it. Just what it is. So, all
Okay.
right.
I meant
So,
Gato,
I'm gonna.
little cat.
So I'm gonna tell you this. Like, I don't like. So the people who were here, um, they understand that, and I make it so that it's 17 older, so like little kids can't search this or anything like that. But I'm just letting you know, just ahead of time.
Okay. Yeah, no
But
worries.
you
I
said in
appreciate
your
that.
bio and through our conversation that you were built, you built your smile behind battles most people never saw.
Mhm.
Kind of dive deep. The reason why is I'm going to ask you two personal questions, and then I really want us to dive into your expertise. But I need people to understand, like, dude, you went through the thick of it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
you just
I've been
said that you
stabbed
felt
and
like
shot
going to
at.
prison was a rite of passage,
Hmm.
and you felt guilty for not being able to go to prison. So that, I mean, that's the type of life you grew up in. So why don't you tell us a little bit about more of those battles so that we can kind of understand what you had to overcome?
Yeah, there was drug like so, and I'm not saying my parents. My parents didn't do this necessarily, but some of the family members, some of my family members' friends, you could say there were some people in the family or loosely around the family that may or may not have helped transport substances for said motorcycle gangs. And so I grew up around that kind of stuff. It wasn't directly my parents. My parents did the best they could. They came from a troubled past themselves, but there was nothing like that in the house necessarily, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. But yeah, so I always seen a less than perfect environment. So I seen a lot of gang violence. I seen a lot of friends growing up going into gangs, and I've seen a lot of alcohol, a lot of drugs. Every year, I know at least like three friends, family members, or somebody, anywhere from 3 to 5 people pass away from either a drug overdose, some sort of violent interaction, or Just, so I thought death and stuff like that was normal for people to see. But once I moved to Utah at 22, I realized that my upbringing was very different than most people ever see.
Yeah. So is there a version of yourself that you could have? What? Okay, there was a version of yourself that you did say that could go to prison. So what was the moment that in your life that shifted that change, or shifted your the direction where you are now?
I
What
moved
was
to
that
Utah.
moment?
The moment was I moved to Utah. I was 22. 21, one of my friends moved out here. I was doing construction, and so I was a certified welder at 17. I've always done blue collar work. One of the reasons why I'm as strong as I am is because I've been lifting logs and ranch hand work and all these things since I was like 14. Lube tech, very blue collar growing up. That's what I thought it was to be a man, between that, fighting, and apparently trying to catch felonies. But I I would say that the biggest thing was I knew I needed to change. I was on workman's comp from an onshore drilling company. We were off. It was off season. I got into a fist fight. I got pushed the wrong way. My leg caught something. My leg was already injured, but then it ended up tearing my MCL. And so that I was on workman's comp for that, because I was supposed to start again on Monday, and the first injury happened when I was on a job site. So basically with that job, it'd be anywhere from 14 to 18 hours a day. Some days 12, we'll say 12 to 16, just to be safe. But I'd basically carrying around big old steel augers and shoveling most of the day, and then helping do with the drill rig. But yeah, so I got that injury and I was on workman's comp. I started drinking Thursday through Sunday, not by myself during the day, but in the evenings I go to the bars and things like that. I had no purpose. And
Yeah.
so I kept getting into fistfights, and more alcohol doesn't make you a less chaotic person. And so I got the opportunity to move out here, and I moved out here on August 15th of 2022. And I've been out, or sorry, no, 2012, sorry. August 15th, 2012. And I've been out here since then.
So what was it about Utah that made you change?
I had a friend here. That was it. I have no family
That was
here.
it.
I didn't know anybody other than I took a friend with me that had a heroin addiction. We got him away from that. He's a music producer now and doing well for himself. He does a lot of like the erection sets too, or whatever, like he erects the stages and things like that. He's a stage manager,
Yeah.
I think it's called, production manager. But yeah, so it got him out of that. Me and him pitched money together. I sold my 4Runner, sold everything I could that didn't fit, which wasn't he like we. And then we got there. They gave us the biggest oversized RV, so we had to drive it all the way out here. Yeah, and then we ended up just in Springville, and I grew up. It was a shell shock being around a majority white people was interesting, because I always grew up around heavy diversity. So that was a little interesting for me. I wasn't used to that at first.
Culture shock because yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um, so is there a version here? Let me just put this. You said discipline became your therapy. What
Mhm.
does that actually mean in practice for someone listening right now? Because I'm not saying that there's any alcoholics, but there are people who are listening that are struggling, that maybe
So
that they need to lose weight, or that they have a food addiction, or simply they have an addiction of some sort that they just want to get rid of, but they just don't know how. So what is the discipline that, like, how did that actually happen, and how did that actually mean to practice for you?
So luckily for me, I've been a workhorse. So I did wrestling in high school. I did water polo. My family didn't play sports. I was the first one in the family to start playing sports. Other than
Hmm.
one of my brothers played some football. Like I said, he was 30, so like many years ago. So for me, discipline started there, and some of the friend groups that I hung out with, because they were high level athletes, and then I was able to hang out with them and have things start moving forward. Um, and so I really started developing high level discipline when I moved to Utah. Um, I I was able to start having self awareness and start dialing in who I wanted to become. And so I started making micro goals towards that. I had actual people in my life that were 100% role models that I could follow at that point. Once I moved from Springville, I moved out of that house, went to Orem, started going to University Vasa. That's when I started to started going to CrossFit. Luckily, God has put me in front of, or whatever higher power you want to say, but God, it put me in front of um, very high level coaches. So for me, I was able to see what I needed to be able to become the person I needed to. So what I did was I started forging tools necessary to be able to save my life. And that's why I have the 20 plus certifications I have now, is to help other people do the same thing.
Nice. And kind of go back to that question is, what if someone doesn't have that discipline, how do they achieve that discipline, or how do they just
Yeah.
go from feeling like not being able to necessarily, like, our motto is be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
And,
So
and
for
let's
me,
say at the moment they don't feel pride. How can they get to the couch, to the gym, or how can they get away from just drinking or whatever? Like, how, if they don't have your discipline or drive?
yeah, sorry, you cut out for a second before, and that's why I paused. But so to answer that question, the biggest thing is you can't wait for the illusion of motivation. You have to start. For a lot of people, it's a neurochemical imbalance, or like Felicia was talking about before, you're using different parts of your brain. So the biggest thing is just to decide to do something and to start doing something, whether it's getting outside, walking, whether it's eating 5 less cookies. Just try to be 1% greater per day. And each day, just try to take something bad out and put something healthy in. Because we're pleasure monkeys without tails, and we're all running off patterns. You can look at the best and highest level people in the world. They still have vices. And most of those people are probably not telling you the honest truth about who they are in some aspects. Like, we still have triggers. We all have shadows. We all have things we can work on. So the biggest thing is to get those excuses out of your way and stop stacking them up in front of you. Start taking them brick by brick to get out of the way. Even if it's the biggest scary thing is going to the gym, just go touch the doorknob or go stand and walk on a treadmill. Like, you got to look at the micro, whatever your macro goals are, you got to dissect that into smaller goals and start accomplishing that. So you don't have a Grand Canyon theory where you can only see across the Grand Canyon and you can't see how to get across. So it's understanding how to start creating a path to get across. So I would say, if it's somebody that doesn't know where to start drinking more water, start eating less cookies, start drinking less soda. And then if it's somebody that wants to go to the gym but hasn't, I would say at least sign up for the gym. And exactly. Oops.
Yeah, I'm like, I like my espirite.
You know what I mean, though? But you're doing the right. You
Mhm.
earned it. Like, so, like, I think a lot of people have depression other than the blue light on cell phones and like the 90-degree boxes we're all stuck in constantly, and we don't have a broad vision. Not to get too deep into that, it's our subconscious knows we're not the person that we want to be. And one of the ways to get, and it's okay to be the person you are now. And it's not crushing who you are. It's just learning how to start having the awareness and building a blueprint to be able the person you want to be. Like Joe Rogan or some of these people say, like, who is it in the movie that you want to be, and how could you be there? Who are you when no one's watching? So those are the, like, I'll stop there before I go too deep
No,
into that.
you have me thinking. You have me thinking because this isn't a question, but obviously this is how I work, especially with dad bods. All of a sudden you say something like, "Okay, hold up."
Perfect. That's what we need
Okay,
here.
so Brock Painter.
I
He was
think
on
so.
the very first. So he's my coach. Like he's the one
Okay.
who's training me. Like I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning right now to go work out for an hour and a half to 2 hours. And dude, I
Mhm.
have so much more energy since working out in the morning than working out at night. It's stupid. You think it would be totally opposite. I have more energy. Like I should be tired right now, like I normally am. Dude, I'm wide awake. Like I'm
Well,
buzzing. Like this, it's so weird. But
and so
but
many
before
people.
you
Sorry, go
answer
ahead.
that part, no, because I will squirrel if I like, just like I just did. Okay, so
Yeah, me too.
Brock. Yeah, this is the luxury of ADHD. So Brock told me once, your goals aren't they're too small. You need to have huge goals because then it becomes crystal clear. So when you said the Grand Canyon and how do I cross the Grand Canyon, could crossing the Grand Canyon necessarily be too small if you can't focus on how to get there? Meaning, like, dead serious, and people are going to laugh at me, and I don't care. My goal is to do stand up on Netflix by the end of 2027. That is a goal of mine. And I will do everything I possibly can to do that. But
Hmm.
that is one of the biggest nightmarish, that's like poop your pants goal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, holy crap, if that happens, what would that be? Another goal is to be in Madison Square Garden and play that. And so if that happens, those goals are astronomical. I said it out loud. Now I have to work for it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I can actually see, because it's so far, it's so big, I know the path. And meaning, like, I have to do tons of open mics. I have to take improv classes. I have to do this, this, and this. And so, like, if I was to say, hey, I wanted to do Wise Guys, well, that's easy. That's just tomorrow. I can just go there. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, what are your thoughts on that? Because you said little by little, but then at the same time, if it's too small, then you have to do little by little. But if you do so big, you already know the little by little. Does that make
I
sense? What
think,
I'm asking?
yeah. I think most people don't have the grit and tenacity that you do. They look for excuses, unfortunately, that wait for the perfect day to start. One of the jokes about jujitsu is see you on Monday, but Monday never comes. You always see people on the weekend saying they're going to come in on Monday, but they have 10,000 reasons not to show up. And so I do agree. You need a massive goal to get started, but at the same time, some people could I know 20 people I can think of off the top of my head that say they're going to start a podcast. No one has ever started one, and people back out of episodes sometimes. So I would say that having a big, huge goal is the macro goal that we're both talking about. The Grand Canyon theory can apply to most people, but you have to be able to see the steps to pave the path. So I think you understand, because you have a different level of grit and tenacity that some people might not have. You got to remember too, like, whenever you started, even like to start on the first podcast, like, was there a trial run before you guys actually did it, or did you guys just start it? Or when you started going back to the gym, like, did it take a couple months for you to even get back in there, or was it like, I could just go? Because a lot of people are so intimidated by the idea of something that they create this huge lion, and they never are able to get past the vision.
Okay, so to answer both of those questions, the first one, I absolutely, and I want to eventually do this again, but right now I think built for purpose is important to me, so I want to do it. I used to have a thing called Copper Lodge, where I would bring the men and women who are part of Copper John's family, who are here on a consistent basis, where we would bring them on, interview them, kind of like I am with you. And I brought Logan on and interviewed him, and it just connected and a vibe. And so if you want to say that was a practice run as me doing that, but when we decided we were going to do it, we just did it. And like, we don't know what it's going to be about, but we're just going to do it. And then next thing you know, we found out what was so important to us, and that's what we've stuck with, because it is important to us. And with the gym, I just went in, but I will tell you, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed because I saw everyone around me, and I thought I was being judged because I looked pregnant. I mean, dude, I was big. Like, I was 70 pounds, 80 pounds heavier than I am now. And I was embarrassed. I was weak. I mean, I couldn't even walk a mile without my heart rate going to 100 beats per minute, 180 beats per minute. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy how out of shape I was. Like, today, I just ran 5 miles, and I was running at a 6.5. And my heart rate
That's
wouldn't
good,
go
dude.
above 109. My heart rate wouldn't go over 109. I'm like, what the crap am I doing wrong? Like, I'm supposed to be in zone 2, and it's not going. Like, I'm like, but it's just different now. You know what I
My
mean?
machine must be messed up. Yeah, it is. But it's just, honestly, it was the same thing with me in jiu-jitsu. I think my friends had this vision of me or whatever. I was a fat kid in jiu-jitsu too, because I knew how long. So I started jiu-jitsu in 2005. So by now I should be a black belt. But I took so much time off in between, and it was such a long stretch, 2017 to last year, that was a big thing for me too. So I think we all have, even Jeremy Horn on one of my episodes, he has 170 fights, but we're talking about seminars, and he was like, who wants to listen to an old UFC veteran? I was like, a lot of people. Like, so I think we all have those. That's all I mean, is some people, if they hear of you doing your, like, and yeah, the Netflix thing, I think you're going to do it. I know you're going to do it. It's one of those things, because why not? Like, do it. And like, I'd be more of a
So
supporter.
Felicia's
like,
coming to my open mic night. She's coming to my open mic night tomorrow at Manny's in Salt Lake. You should come. It's at 7. And you do it too.
7
That'd be
p.m.
fun.
I'm guessing. Oh yeah. The one that was on, where me and Logan were talking about, the artificial alpha thing, you know, like all the guys talking about, like all the dark sport guys, they're bodybuilders walking around talking about being a wolf. I'm like, bro, you shave your legs. No wolf, wait, wolf shaves their legs.
All right. So
But
here
sorry,
is
go ahead.
no, keep going, keep going.
No. I was just saying that I think there's multiple levels of individuals, and it's easy to create a goal, but also you have to do the thing. It's like the I believe in The Secret. You know, Sean Finnegan and us were talking about like The Secret, the manifestation. But if you do no work, then the manifestation isn't going anywhere. You're just, you know, like potato chip curls on the couch is not going to manifest the best life for you. So I think it's
All
like
right.
having, like you said, having the great goals, but being able to make sure that you step it, like at least step into the arena, kind of look over, touch the doorknob, do something, get out, go for a walk, do something to get you to started on that journey.
Okay. So to pat myself on the shoulder, I do things that most people won't. Like I dare to do things, even if it's uncomfortable, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if an individual is having a hard time? Like, I mean, to me, walking into the gym and walking out for the first time, even if you don't do anything, is a win because you walked in. So,
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So what do you tell the people so that they get out of their head to know that they are welcome, that they are loved, that people aren't judging them, they're rooting for them? Like what? I mean, there's always those alpha people that you're just like, okay, you know, like enough, you're making everyone else look bad. But then there's people like you and I who are just like, dude, how can I help you? Like, do you need the spot? Like what do you need?
Yeah.
Or hey, you're doing open mic, oh, you're doing a podcast, what do you need help with? Let me help you. Like people who are
So I would,
creating new beard care companies, I'm like, hey, let me help you. What
100%.
do you say to those people who are maybe a little bit timid?
I say find your why. Your
Ooh,
frequency is what
love
you
that.
frequently see. Your frequency is what you frequently see. So if you're inherently negative and you're stuck there, you're always going to see a red car. So you have to find your why. So if it's to be a better if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your kids. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your ancestors that put you in this position, that were walking barefoot to Utah in the snow. Like, do it for, you just have to find your why, even if it's vain. I have clients that are like, I want to look great naked. I'm like, okay, then that's our goal. Now, how are we going to do that? We got to go to the gym. We have to set up a good diet plan, you know. So, and for you, it's high rocks. It's you set something. You have a why. You do it for your family. You do it for your kids. You do it to be the best provider you could be, the best grandma.
Yeah.
If you're a grandma and you want to be able to pick up your nephew and niece, you have to start doing some sort of strength training, and you have to at least start by walking off of the couch and around the block. So it's finding your why. And then I always say to dissect whatever your huge goals are, whatever your Netflix goal is, and turn those into micro goals, like open mics, or even getting in your car and driving over there, you know, and sitting outside and freaking out. You know, if that's what it takes to get you there, at least you got there. I could send you a video of me sitting knee deep in a cold plunge and not getting in for a minute because it was 39 degrees and I was expecting 55. So like we all have
That's
those
a huge
days.
difference.
Yeah,
Dude,
you know
when
what I
I
mean?
went to Bear Lake
I'm
and we
knee
had to
deep
break
in it
ice.
and doing this. Yeah.
So no, when we went to Bear Lake and had to break ice, like just for the first like 10 feet, but because Bear Lake's like this deep for like a mile, like I had to walk out there with she's my daughter, who's 12, is the only one who would do it with me. My feet were completely numb and hurting by the time we actually got to get in. But dude, 39 degrees is stupid. It was 38 there, so I understand that. All right, let me ask you another
Dude.
question.
Yeah. Go for it.
A lot of people struggle with consistency. All right. So what do you think they're getting wrong about discipline?
Taking vacations is not a treat. Eating unhealthy snacks is not a treat. It's poison to your body. I think they just got to flip the script and understand that the greatest form of self-respect is eating healthy and treating yourself better. This weird American culture, we fit shame everybody that is healthy. So I think it's a combination of people worried about what other people think and changing their goals and their impressions with themselves. So by the way, I just got the notification of us going on at 6 from the whole, yeah.
Yeah.
No, the
Oh
one for us
yeah,
going on at 6 originally. I was like,
yeah,
wait, what am I?
six.
It
Sorry,
threw me
man.
off for a second. No, it's okay. But yeah, the whole idea behind it is like just make sure that your narrative understands that eating healthier, getting properly hydrated, and just checking the boxes is because now we have this interesting culture. Like, there's always so many excuses. Like now for women, it's their hormones are always messed up, and then for men, their testosterone's low. And there's all these factors, and a lot of factors have to do with diet and nutrition. And if they were able to fix those and get blue light out of their eyes, then things would start fixing themselves. But before I get too deep in the weeds, I would say just dialing in the basics, like just hydrate more, add electrolytes to your water because water's not enough, and then eat less processed food and more whole foods. So just have a baseline. That, or hire a coach that can help you.
I have two questions for you,
Yes.
and one is not an argument. It's an argument question. Basically, I I like sugar. I do. I like candy. I love sweet tarts and things like that. I don't like chocolate. I like candy, lemon
Hmm.
heads, things like that. I have learned if I have maybe like not a bag, like a full bag of lemon heads or anything like that, but if I have like in Mentos, like you have a whole Mentos thing, like fruit. If I have like 4 or 5, maybe in every couple of days, it seems to take away that craving. And so, what are your thoughts? Because to me, it's like if I completely take that out of my life, I will binge. And you know what I mean? And so like, but if I
Yeah.
can have just a little bit at a time, I'm satisfying that craving and then I don't have to binge.
So we'll circle back around to the 1% greater per day. Um, it's your blueprint that we're creating. So say if you're my client, I'm going to give you as much leeway. Apparently I'll bring my own dirt to kick it in your face if needed to. But um, what I mean is, like, it's your blueprint we're creating. So whatever version of sanity that doesn't make you, because most people try to go cold turkey on everything and then they fail when the dopamine wears off. So for this, there's a reason why you eat sugar, and it's whether it's a
Well, I'm
mechanism of
addicted to
comfort.
sugar.
Well, I'm just saying it started somewhere. Like, it's somewhere down the family line. One Halloween you got yelled at too much. Like, whatever that is, there's a reason
It's
why
my
that
grandma.
pattern's.
Like that's it's family like that. Like just kind of like you watch Super Size Me, it gives you comfort. 100% it gives me comfort.
Mhm.
Like if I'm having a stressful moment, I take a couple of things of candy and I feel better. 100% I think that.
Yeah, and that's okay as long as you can find a safe place to manage that. So say if you're eating 6 of those strawberry things that every grandma had on their table, those little rock hard ones that cut your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah,
ones in the little.
I 100%
So,
know. Warheads.
or like you said, the fruity Mentos. That's fine as long as you can find a level where it's not like a compulsive act, and you're continuously doing it. If you can find a safe space, like, or a safe number, I should say, of things. Like, so if you can, with discipline, you can. Sorry, I can hear the reverb on it. It's throwing me off a little bit. I can hear it in the headphones.
Oh, maybe it's me. Here, let me go lower. Okay, try again.
I think, yeah, that works. Sorry, it was just, like, for me, that's a hard time with the
No,
headphones too
I
on
had my
podcasts.
speaker on too loud that it connected with the microphone. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, so if you can, everything in moderation safe. Like, everything in moderation. So basically, whatever it is that's made you like the overeating, things like that. Like, as long as you can go, I say like a 70-30 rule can be safe, and then you work up to being more disciplined. Just like your walk, you started walking, then you started jogging, and now you can't find your zone two. Like, so it's the same concept as like.
Oh, weird. And I'm like, but what's funny is I was tired. Like I feel like I'm running, but my heart says I'm not.
Yeah, so the goal is not to put somebody in such a crazy caloric deficit unless they have an alcohol issue or something like that. Then you can go lower on the caloric intake, just to reset their mucosal lining in their gut. But there's very specific things you do for stuff like that. So with this, it's more so like you just get people to, like, you find out how many calories they're burning, and then you just make sure they're not in a surplus, going over whatever that is. So, like, you could still have your
So I heard
Mentos.
once I heard once, it's not the day that matters, it's the week. Is that true?
100%. Yeah, because your calories don't reset every morning. Like, like you don't wake up and you have a new calorie counter. It's the same body. It's the same food you ate
Well, you
yesterday.
kind of do because that's what my fitness pal says.
But exactly. So it just resets every day. But yeah, it's at the end of the week because if somebody's in too much of a surplus or too much of a deficit, you could have upwards of 5 to 10,000 calories. And then like the rule of thumb is for every 3,500 calories that go unutilized, that could be a pound of fat. So if you, the base
Now
basically the thing.
you're making me dive like think like none of these questions I was going to ask. Kay asked the question. I'll get to that, but how does that work for your body? Like biomechanics, like you were talking about, it's just like that's what you specialize in. How does your calories when you wake up, like you have breakfast because you're breaking from a fast, right? So
Oh,
how does your body not like I'm confused. I'm
so
confused.
just depending on how much you eat in a day, just think of food as fuel. So like if you're trying to constantly fill up your gas tank at the pump, but it doesn't need anymore, your mouth will tell, or your brain will tell your mouth, we need more food sometimes, even if you're not hungry.
What about
So
metabolism? Don't you have to eat so your metabolism doesn't slow down?
yes, but most people don't realize if they're having McDonald's, that's 1,400 calories already. And if they're sedentary and they're not moving at all, their BMR, their basal metabolic rates, 1,900 to 2,000. They have that in 2 meals. Then they eat the 14 mini Snickers bars, and then they have the pint of ice cream. They're sitting at 4,500 calories every day. So then they're in a surplus of like 10,000 calories by the end of the week.
Hmm.
So
Okay, so
it doesn't have to be, it doesn't just have to be a macros number game. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding and macros either. My approach doesn't, it more so it's just like whole foods. Like the biggest thing is if you get started, just reduce. Most people actually undereat what they should and overeat processed carbs. Like most people don't eat enough protein. Most people don't hydrate properly. And those are the two beginning factors I like to fix is electrolytes, more amino acids, or protein. And the rest of that we can kind of play with. And then as for biomechanics is just like the same thing. It's an assessment. So for you, say with your knees, usually you have bad internal rotation. So like your internal rotation's off, or your feet, your arches collapse in your feet, and that usually stems foundational issues that stem all the way up to the crown of your head.
all right, let me hear and ask this question before we move on. Kay asks, any advice for shifting from a life of default to a like by design? For more context, I've always lived in survival mode, and other than doing better financially, I don't know what my real goals are.
Yeah, I would say, like, say if you can't think of goals and it's not your kids or anything else, like think of an avatar. Think of somebody that you'd like to be more like, or somebody, and see what goals that they have, and see how that maybe you could dissect some of those to create. I would also say, like, if she's been in, so if there's like self-deprecation or anything like that, apparently you have somebody like Felicia you could hire, or you could start doing like a gratitude journal or just writing down 3 things that you're grateful for. That helps out a lot. And then I would just start trying to hang out in, maybe if she has the time, to start hanging out in different atmospheres that are leaning towards the potential goals that she's looking for. For me, that gratitude journal helped out a lot. Even just writing down 3 things that you're grateful for throughout the day on a piece of paper at the end of the day, because then all day you're going to be looking for those 3 things to be grateful for. And then over time, your subconscious mind starts like just switching things around. And then the more then if it is working out and getting it more into fitness, I think that's the real wealth, is having a combination of financial freedom and physical freedom to be able to move the way you'd like to. So
I like
I'm not
those
sure if
answers.
I'm not sure if that
No,
answered it properly, but
and what I would say is, Kay, where do you want to be in 5 years? Like truly just
mhm,
really figure that out. And then when you figure out where you want to be in 5 years, be that person. Figure out what that person does. What are their traits? What are their qualities? What are your qualities in 5 years from
mhm.
now? And then live those. Try to create those in your life right now.
Yeah,
That's
because
called
then
manifestation, and that really does
you
work.
you have that 5-year plan, and then like we're both saying that there's the macro, and then we're just dissecting it and deconstructing it is the word I was looking for. And then you kind of have all the
Oh,
layers
yeah.
out on your table, and then you're like, okay, like a puzzle. Like, so you're taking a puzzle that was put together, you're taking it apart, kind of mixing it up a little bit to put it back together. So I think also too, don't let the idea of age or anything get in the way of your greatest version of yourself, because I like
45
to
when I
think that,
started.
and like I'm 37 and I'm not tripping myself as much as I run or when I run, but it's still there sometimes. And then if there is self-sabotage in there, that's okay to ask the questions why, or start looking at the factors that cause it when it happens. And like nowadays, even myself, like to go on set for this, I know there's other black belts and different people that have probably a better skill set than I do, but it wasn't offered to them. It was offered to me. And you can't slap the universe in the face for giving you blessings. So you have to lean into becoming that person. And sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. You got to show up and try your best.
All right. So now I have two questions that are personal that do affect everyone else. Because I know this happens. When I was on your podcast, when I started interviewing you, because I was so curious about who you were. Sorry about that again.
No, it's okay. I loved it. It was great.
Um, you mentioned that I am still carrying weight around my stomach because of the cortisol levels, and
Potentially.
because of my stresses and stuff, like potentially. But with how hard I work out, with how I eat, that's the only thing that makes sense, because I'm taking testosterone because I was at 116, and they got me roughly around 800 right now.
Hmm.
So nothing astronomical, but just in a good setting. Um, and so with that being said, what causes you to have that cortisol belly, so to speak? What is it? And then how can one get rid of it? Just because I know it's not just me, we all have stress in our life. But
Okay.
and kind of what Kay was saying is she lives in survival mode, which means she has it consistently. So I
Hmm.
kind of wanted you to explain that and how one might alleviate that.
So it depends. If she's an overthinker, some people's
Did we
survival
lose you?
mode isn't even. Can you hear me?
We might have. Oh, we lost him.
No, I'm right here.
You there?
I'm still here.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. All right.
Sorry, I went into survival mode there. I had to take off, I guess. Factory reset. I did a tuck and roll out of here. But can you hear me still?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, sweet. I moved the camera. I moved the phone again like 2 inches forward, and it worked. I was like, cool, sweet. there's a Goldilocks zone here. um, so uh, so it depends. We can have overthinkers, and that's why people are in survival mode. It could be stuff like cortisol. It can be women's hormones. It could be imbalance of testosterone and estrogen. But not to get too deep in the weeds. That's what I was saying. Is like if she can catch her thoughts, it'll help out a lot. But there are supplementations like what is it, MK500, which is or is it MK? No, I think that's anyways. I don't have to give like the scientific name. Ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is going to be a great one. Electrolytes first thing in the morning before caffeine, and if you can wait 2 hours before having caffeine in the morning, that's huge. Huge. That'll lower cortisol levels, especially if you're a mouth breather. When you wake up in the morning, your cortisol is usually going to be higher. And working out harder doesn't lower cortisol all the time. It can actually make it worse. Like, remember when I messaged you the other day and I was like, hey, if you ever have nights where you don't sleep very well, the cold plunge might not be the best option for that long. Because I've had times where I cold plunge and it's cold and it kept the cortisol levels higher throughout the day. So I would say sleep, quality sleep, and then making sure that you're not excessively mouth breathing and chest breathing. I know that sounds more difficult, but if you wake up with your mouth dry all the time, so your lips are cracked, you probably are a mouth breather. You could have sleep apnea. Big neck fellows like him and myself. And then also, unfortunately, people that got teeth taken out to have straight teeth and had braces, the old school way of doing that made your tongue too wide for your mouth. And there's new studies showing that can be an issue too, that you've got too fat of a tongue for your mouth nowadays because of the way
Oh,
that they
wow.
structured the jaw. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of more science coming out
Interesting.
about that too. And then also like making sure that you utilize your jaw more, because there's nerves that run down your neck here that actually help. So if you're not a meat eater, at least chew gum or something dense. That that chewing, not grinding your teeth apparently, but the chewing can actually help. There's studies that show it can help alleviate stress as well. That's why you see all
That
these
is
summer
not.
sales guys are like, I always wonder, I was like, I always think the best salesmen probably chew the fastest. They're just like, you could sell,
So,
salt to a snail.
what's your thoughts on pre-workout then?
Um, Pre-workout works great for people that aren't sensitive to caffeine. You can do pre-workouts that don't have stimulants in them. Most of these pre-workouts
Yeah,
have.
Mountain Ops has Enduro that doesn't have it.
That's great. It has. You want something with beta alanine if you like the tingle, if you're chasing the feel. Arginine, citrulline, and some sort of beetroot extract or nitric oxide booster. Those are going to be the most sustainable. Not only with caffeine, it's a vasorestrictor, so it restricts your blood cell or your blood vessels and makes them tighter. Your bloods are your body's a river system. It's a hydraulic system. You need to get blood everywhere in your body. Ligaments, tendons are the last things to get them. That's why they're white. But so you have this, your whole body needs blood. But with caffeine, unfortunately, it restricts blood. So you're kinking the hose and blood's not getting where it needs to go as quickly. So having something that opens up all the blood vessels, like a nitric oxide booster that has arginine and citrulline are amino acids. They're a precursor that helps or a transporter that helps the nitric oxide boosting substance like beetroot extract or things like that. So basically just a non-stim that'll help, that usually says pump on it. Those will be very beneficial, especially if you're working out in the evening and then you take another 400 milligrams of caffeine and you're like, oh, it's my anxiety, I don't know why I can't sleep. But in reality, it's like taking caffeine after 3 p.m. can be catastrophic for your REM sleep. Yes. Sorry, I'll stop there.
So I've listened to and I've dropped caffeine intake. I still have a little bit, but I have dropped it, and I have noticed my quality of sleep is better. I really have
Way
noticed
better.
that.
And I'll bring you a jar. I want to bring you a jar to try. They're just amino acids. It's from U Theory. I'll add that at nighttime, and it helps a ton. There's specific amino acids that'll help with like REM sleep. That'll help with quality of sleep. That'll help with, because you have, I think, 7 stages through your circadian rhythm, if that's still the science. And then they have stuff like the Whoop strap. Like, so this device here actually was made by sleep scientists, and it helps calculate. It's $30 a month. And it helps keep track of your REM sleep in different levels. And for me, I used to think THC was a thing that would help in my early 20s, and it did not. I was getting like minutes of REM sleep through 9 hours of sleep, or 8 or 9. And what actually helps is like amino acids and things like that. So one of the reasons why, so I know this is 17 and up, but like some people use CBD, THC, or CBN. And once you get off of some of these substances, or I mean, they can be considered like herbs too. They're healing. They have a lot of good healing properties. But people, the reason they remember their dreams is because they're now back in the REM, the REM cycles. REM cycles are rapid eye movement. That's usually when you actually dream, and that's the last bit of a sleep cycle.
All right, we have tons of questions, and we have 12 minutes.
Okay.
Does Justin work with anyone with polyneuropathy, or does he know anything about it, treatment, advice, etc.?
I have had clients in the past. One of my certifications actually is foot health. So if it is polyneuropathy and if it has to do with their feet, unless they're type 1 diabetic, there's different forms of neuropathy. So if it's fingertips, toes, there are ways to help it out. But anyways, yes, I have worked with a few over the years, and there are different protocols like St. John's wort and different things. If you're not on SSRIs and different things, it'll help with like nerve function, and there are different options to help make sure that you can get blood flow to your fingertips and your toes.
So Kenny, what I would suggest is reach out to him on Instagram. I asked him for permission to do this before we started, and if you have any additional questions, you guys can reach out to him and work with him directly and just with those questions. Will.I.am, he goes, what supplements or peptides do you suggest for optimization?
Depending on your age and what optimization means to you. If you're chronically injured, I would say find a source of peptides that don't have a COA or not a source from China. Try to find something in states that's third-party tested. But But that being said, BPC 157 and TB 500. BPC 157 is derived from
I'm
stomach
taking both.
acids.
Just recently started.
Yeah, Wolverine cycle. It's great. And one of the reasons why is so TB 500 helps with muscle growth, and then BPC 157 not only helps with your gut, it helps with mood, and it helps with ligament and tissue damage. Other than that, I would say colostrum and creatine and collagen.
Sweet. What's your thoughts on Clo?
Sorry, you cut out. You'll have to say that one more time.
What's your thoughts on Clo? KLOW. It has copper, what you just said, and but another for the life of me, I can't remember.
It's a peptide, right? I honestly don't have enough information on that one. But message me and I can get back to you. Give me like 2 days and I'll do some research.
Sweet. All right. This is Ellie.
So.
Ellie's weird. She likes Oreos with water. I'll never forget this. She told me about 5-6 years ago, and I'm like, still weird to me. But she says, I've kind of plateaued for the last leg of my goal. I have managed to lose weight without ending up looking like a sugar glider, but still need to work on tightening my upper legs. Any suggestions?
There's age demographics. I would make sure that you're, for one, eating enough protein. Maybe putting some electrolytes in the water before you dip your Oreos in there. And I would zone 2 cardio is great. But if you haven't had a blood test, then we're rearranging our furniture in the dark sometimes too. So if you can afford, if you're local here in Utah, depending where you're at, I would see where your hormones are at.
She's out of Colorado.
Out of Colorado. So yeah, I would check in if you haven't had a blood test just to check, because sometimes cortisol levels and hormonal imbalances can make us hold stubborn body fat in certain areas. And we don't want to do too much of a caloric deficit or like diet too hard, because that can really mess with your hormones too.
Okay. This is the last question, but we still have a little bit of time. I have heard the term, but I have no idea what peptides are. Could you give a brief explanation?
Depending on what peptides there are right now, they're the new cryptocurrency. So after going to the extra,
but legit.
Everybody has a company. It's wild. So my understanding from peptides is a lot of them are derived from amino acids or from different, they're extracted from different like things in the body. Like BPC 157 was extracted from stomach acids. So the original peptides were basically meant to help supplement the human body to fix little like spots that
optimization of where it used to be in their 20s.
Yeah, exactly. Increasing I read this book on peptides a while ago, and one of the original ones I seen was for sleep, one was for digestion, and the other one was starting to make for an anti-aging. But then they've split up into millions of different options. So now you have
MOTS that helps with the stimulation and creation of mitochondria within the cell that's supposed to give you more energy and weight loss. And I mean, is MOTS even legal, like technically?
I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not a peptide specialist. I usually go Whole
neither
Foods.
am I. I just know that I just have recently learned, because there's so many people. So I'm going to have. So there was supposed to be a peptide informative person. Like that's what she does for a living, is works for Ellie. And I was going to have her come, not this Ellie, but different Ellie, at the company Ellie, and they were going to talk about peptides and the ones that are legal and the ones what they do and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, no, there's a lot of cool stuff. So she goes right on. I do eat salt straight up like a weirdo too, Tyson. So she does a lot of salt.
Sweet. Literally. Well, that's good. Just make sure it's a good salt too. Like regular table salt's not that great. I like Redmond's real salt. You want to make sure that you have a salt that has all 72 minerals in it. And then also that one has bentonite clay, so it's healthier for your gut.
All right, last question. Maybe last question. What is the biggest mistake or the biggest mistakes you see in the fitness world when it comes to chasing performance and aesthetics? Because I think a lot of us middle-aged men who are in this chat, picture us being back to when we looked like when we were in our 18, 19, 20. And to me, that's the biggest mistake is instead of they're just chasing a look rather than a fill.
1 rep maxes, they're dumb. Why are you lifting like a football player? Like these 5x5 programs, lift 6 to 12 rep ranges, in my opinion, and then work a little bit more on mobility because everybody's lifting like concrete and concrete breaks. You want to lift more like bamboo and be a little more pliable to be able to last because you have these guys that try to deadlift 400 pounds. They blow out their back picking up their knees for turning. And I would say don't go for 1 rep maxes unless you're sports specific. If you're training to be a power lifter or something like that, that's a different story. I would do more, start doing more dumbbells than barbells too, because barbell puts your shoulders into internal rotation. Most people just leave afterwards and they wonder why they have back issues. So I would say, so just do more free weights and stay higher in the reps and worry about the contraction and not just like the amount of reps. So try to activate the muscles instead of just thinking about reps in the next song you're going to play on your phone.
Love it. All right. And this will be the last one. My biggest problem is finding exercise within my disability, spinal problems. Any suggestions?
Yes. Reach out to me or functional patterns. Functional patterns actually correct scoliosis and disc issues. I think a lot of machines and a lot of this bodybuilding culture, although they have the right intention, they don't understand how to properly load the spine. A lot of, especially if you have a sit-down job or depending on the injury, bulging disc can be fixed. The subspinal tissue can be adjusted and you can support things around your spine properly. So I would look into programs that are better going to support your issues, but I would look in, say, other than me or like a professional that understands how your body needs to move in spirals. I would look into the functional patterns is what it's called. The guy's name's Naughty Aguilar. He has some really cool stuff. It's spiral coiling with like a cable and a weight. It's pretty safe for most people and it helps a lot of people with spinal issues.
All right. And then 2 things. First thing, we should do a little video of you working on my lunges because I had knee replacement and with high rocks, you have 100 yards, 55 pounds on your back to doing lunges. And right now, that is my weakness because it hurts. And so I'd love to know, work with you maybe and you teach me how to actually do a lunge where it doesn't hurt.
We'll do with you. The first thing I always do with clients is an assessment, and I'll point out everything that I see. Not that's wrong with you, because you're perfect, sir. Just kidding. But it is the there are like internal external rotators and rotation things with the hips, and there's like rib cage flares and things like that I'll point out and we can correct. And so it's a chain of command. So your nervous system is talking to everything, and it's just like reconnecting wires basically. So like if you ever flash your computer on your car, you have to reset after you get an oil change. You can do the same thing to your body. It takes a little bit more time, but like for lunges and squats, it's usually ankle mobility, big, dumb, stupid, soft shoes, or I have a thing with big foam shoes because like most foundations are not built on sand. Most elevated heeled shoes, we don't ride horses anymore, so we don't have to catch stirrups. There's a lot of propaganda that Nike and different shoe companies created early on. So that's I could go grab my tinfoil hat for that one. But I would say, so most of it's not that you're broken. It's just your body doesn't understand how to communicate with itself anymore.
Hey, because when I go, you have your kneecap and where is it? You have your kneecap right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's the tendon that goes down there. That's what hurts.
Yeah. The meniscus, the one in the front.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm guessing it's in your hip and in your ankle. And that's the focal point when you go.
In my head?
No. Your hip and your ankle.
Yeah. I was like, in my head. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You just gotta tap right here above your right eyebrow. They'll just go away.
So they're outside waiting for me. But one last question, because I hate leaving these guys hanging out. I've had multiple ankle injuries, multiple bone spurs, and have plantar fasciitis in both feet. Could that be part of my issue?
110%. Your feet shouldn't be like this in these little socks. So if your toes look like they're throwing up gang signs when you take your shoes off, you have to work. One of the reasons people get plantar fasciitis is because so these are metacarpals in your hands. Metatarsals are those little tiny bones in your feet. What it's doing is it's pinching on nerves. Those nerves start to get irritated and they cause issues. So yes, our feet shouldn't look like this. They should be able to move like our hands.
I will get him on again,
one.
guys. I will get him on. This has to be the last one. People are waiting on me and he has things to do. What shoe does he recommend?
I would say the best shoe I like is Vivo Barefoot, but start with for the $45 shoes. I would say they're Wittins, WHITIN, and they're $40 on Amazon. They have a wide toe box. You can get more foam. Either walk around the house in them or do something casual in them or just walk around the gym. Don't switch up completely right off the get-go because your feet will get tired and sore. But yes, Witten, I like Vivo Barefoot's probably my favorite, and Zero with an X. XERO is another good brand. Those are local. That one's in Colorado.
8 you miles. Last one. Shh. Don't ask any more questions, guys. Is TRT a good option if testing is done? I never had it done. I don't know if I should get tests. No real symptoms, just 48.
If Miles is here in Utah, go to Prime Labs. They don't push any.
He is in Alabama.
All right. So I would say, I mean, he might be able to get a blood panel.
He's an Alabama fan, so he might have really low testosterone.
I was waiting for a hookworm joke. But so anyway, so yes, get testing done, but don't let them persuade you into it right off the bat. Because if your numbers, I've had clients that and I'm not a doctor, by the way, so I'm not a testosterone specialist, but I've had clients go from 300 to 750 just from taking natural the things that have fenugreek, tribulus, like natural herbal things, and then dim. So my testosterone, I'll be 37 next week. And my testosterone used to be 400. I was doing all the fun powders and and I'm not talking about the healthy ones, and alcohol and all these things in my 20s. And my testosterone dropped. But once I moved out here through my 20s, they've been up, and my testosterone's 1,000 naturally right now. And it's been, the lowest I've seen it is 998.
All right. Thank you so much. If you're willing, it looks like we're going to have you back on.
Yeah, dude, whenever you want. I actually used to do Wellness Wednesdays with one of my friends to do this kind of stuff.
Awesome. All right. So with that being said, guys, again, we do this because our motto is be proud of who you are. And I believe that we're working so hard on our beards, on our skincare, that we need to also work on our whole individual person, and physical health is important. So thank you so much, Justin, for being here. Thank you everyone for listening and asking us some amazing, I hate you, Ellie. I love her. But thank you so much for being here, guys. And again, hit Justin up if you have any questions at the Elevated Jedi on Instagram, and he's amazing. You guys see this. So anyway, Justin, thank you so much, buddy.
Thanks for talking me up, bud.
See you guys.